Hello all, welcome to this course on ISTQB Foundation Level Examination Preparation. This is we are dealing with the third chapter, that is a static testing, and the total marks expected from this chapter is 3 marks. In this video we are going to cover the review process, work product review process. Alright, so let's start with what is a review process. So first of all uh, we'll just discuss what exactly the work product is. So work product is nothing but the previous videos we have discussed, right? So we have around 9 work products like test cases, test spec, user stories, then codes, architects, and design. So those are work products. So for reviewing the work products, we have to follow few processes. So what are all those processes that we are going to see in this video? See, for the review process, which comprises the following main activities. So these are all the 5 main activities that what are all the review process carries. Even your organization, if you are doing some reviews kind of thing, so that will be comprises within these 5 activities only. All right, let's start with planning. So what is planning? That is defining. So in the planning, what they'll do with respect to review. So here we are not talking about the entire project. We are not talking about the the executions or the defect raising or the refixing or the fixing, nothing. So here completely we are talking about the reviews, because this is a static testing. So in the planning with respect to the static testing, here we have defining is also a planning, right? So defining uh, something, if you define some variables, if you define in your program, that also what is defining the initial stage. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so whatever task you do, you define something. So defining the scope, what all things you will define with respect to the review process. So the scope, what is the scope exactly it is, which includes the purpose of the review. So what is the purpose of review, whether it should be a documented or non-documented, it has to be escalated or not, whether it has to reach out to the customer or not, it has to be highlighted to the management or not. So the purpose will be clearly defined in the scope. Then what are the documents has to be taken care at the time of review? Only the test specifications, or any functional documents, or any design documents. So what are the documents that also needs to be added here, and the quality characteristics to be evaluated. So this is very important. The few quality characteristics for the software has been defined in few documents, that also needs to be evaluated. That should be planned, and that should be planned for the evaluation. That's it. Then estimating the time, effort, this is correct, right? So effort, how many resources has to be added. Say for example, maybe 3 resources has to be used for the overall review process, and time frame for each, it has to be 2 days, so totally 6 days, 6 working days, like that. Estimation, then identifying the review characters. Even if you are working as a junior, you may sometimes you may get frustration to your test lead or the your manager, like you have to complete within 6 days. If it is exceeded one day, then you'll get a lot of yelling from them. The reason is the estimation has been already over on the planning phase itself. Like when you are doing before 1 month or 2 month ago, only the estimation has been over, so he has to be abide with the estimation. If this 6 days goes beyond 7 or 8 or 9, then he'll get screwed. All right, so that is the reason of the estimation. Then identifying review characteristics such as the review type with roles or activities and checklists. So this is also very important. Roles, who has to be in the, like, either the senior engineers or the lead or technical lead, whoever it is. Then activities, what is their activity, that has to be identified. Then checklist, there will be some standard checklist for every companies, or even at least for projects. So they has to be maintained a checklist. So again, if you are a lead, then you should follow these checklist. Without checklist, you should not plan for a review, first of all, right? Because nowadays most of the companies, they are doing this without checklist, they are doing some reviews. So there is no proper checklist or no proper documentation. It has to be followed, because as we are reading this, to follow this process. Without following this process, studying is waste. Selecting the people to participate in the review and allocating the roles, yeah, that also matters a lot. So who has to participate, who if yeah, and allocate the roles. Defining the entry and exit for the criteria for the formal review types, that is inspection. Again defining. So here defining the scope and purpose document. So here defining the entry and exit criteria. So this is very important. Many engineers also nowadays, they are failing to do this. See, when you are starting your work, you should have some entry criteria. Means If I get these inputs, then only I'll start. Without this, you cannot start. Without properly checking the entry criteria, they used to start, and they'll somewhere. They'll stuck somewhere. Then they'll feel like there is no document, there is no proper inputs. Then they'll go back to their superiors and telling this. They'll tell like, why can't you give these statement at early stages? So this thing happens. So you have to be very keen before starting your work. And coming to exit criteria, yes, there will be exit criteria given by the customer, like what are the stuff given by this customer. We have derived the exit criteria, and you have to, once the exit criteria is completely 100% has been over, then only it has to be exit, otherwise no. All right. Because nowadays, even due to time shortage, people used to 80% or 90% work they'll complete, and remaining 10% they'll just give some dummy things, and they'll just make out of the exit criteria. So that also should not be there. Checking the entry criteria are met for more formal review types. Again, that's the same. Then next is planning. Sorry, after the planning, next is initiate review. So distributing the work product. So the in the initiate review process, yeah, someone will distribute the reviews, and also who's the someone that will be in the next video on roles and responsibility. For time being, you have to understand in this initiate review, these things will happen. Distribute the work product, like by maybe the physically or electronically. You'll get the hard copy or soft copy, and other materials such as issue log, forms, checklist, everything. Explaining the scope, objectives, process, roles, and work products to the participants. So everything will be explained here. So in this phase only, all the Q and A's for the inputs, and the documents, or the what are the other like rules, responsibilities, everything will be defined and explained. Answering any question that the participants may have about the review. Yeah. So if there is any questions, they'll just clear the participants. That means the whoever is being in role to take up the explaining stuff, they should be very clear about the product. Then individual review, reviewing all other part of the work product. So in this individual review process, everything fin to fin it has to be reviewed. Noting potential defects, recommendation, and questions, everything. So if it is a 10 people has been in the meeting, each raised 2 or 3 questions, all the questions has to be noted down. Then recommendation, if there is any, if some one or two they suggest something, that also has been noted down. Then if there is potential defect, if there's any issues has been found during the review or during the discussion, that also to be noted down. So that is what in the individual review. Coming to the in issue communication and analysis. Now, so communicating identified potential. So whatever here it is noted down, right? In the individual review, something is noted down that will be communicated here. Like when you're sending a mail or when you're discussing with your colleague, so that will be in this phase. Analyzing. So after after letting them to know, so there will be some analysis. So that's what analyzing the potential defects, that also in this issue communication analysis. Then evaluating, same kind of analysis. Analysis means what exactly it is. Evaluating means what is the severity, what is the priority to be made. So that is what. Then evaluating the review findings against the exit criteria. So whether the found, whatever the issue found, will it impact the exit criteria or not, that also needs to be evaluated. Then actually it is a continuity. Okay. Sorry, major changes except, so that's what it is. So it is very simple. Here it is finding in this part it is previous part, it is planning. After planning, it is distributing. Is planning first one. So next is distributing the documents to everyone. After distributing, finding the issues. All right, finding the issues. After finding the issues, fixing, or not only fixing, evaluating the severity, how severe it is, whether it will be impact to the release or not. So everything has to be evaluated by analyzing before communicating. All right, so this is the issue communication and analysis. Fixing and reporting, creating creating a defect report for those finding the requires changes to a work product. So definitely, if there is any issues, then the change has to be done. If change is not done, that again, that has to be status has to be mentioned as a deferred. That we'll see in the upcoming videos. As of now, so creating defect reports for those findings that require changes to the work product. In the work product, it has to be reflect. Fixing defects found in the work product, reviewed. So if it is fixed also, it has to be reviewed. Communicating defects to the appropriate person or a team in a work product related to the work product, reviewed. recording updated status, okay, gathering metrics, checking all the exit, accepting. So it's very simple. What they are trying to give is, if the tester found some issue, all right, if he found some issues, then what happened, it has to be fixed, or it has to be communicated, or it has to be documented. All right, so that is what, so communicating or documenting. So after that, it has to be recorded, it has to be recorded, like in this baseline, in this release, that this issue has been fixed, everything has to be discussed. If there's a meeting, reviews, everything, it has to be notified. Then gathering the metrics, so whether the test metrics has been covered or not. Then again, finally, exit criteria, what I've seen, whether the software, or the, sorry, not only software, not mean here software, the product, it is fine to go to the next phase or not. So exit criteria is not something only mean to the customer. Say for example, if he author, one guy is an author, he's writing some test cases. So this test case is going to another level, to the reviewer. So here also you have to check the exit criteria. So everything, because it is exiting from his level. Again, after reviewing, he is giving the review comments, right? So and he'll send back to the author. So that time also you have to check for this exit criteria. So exit criteria does be defined for the levels as well. Accepting the work product when the exit criteria or reached. So this is the, again, the work product, whatever the work product may be. Sometimes it may be the test case, sometimes maybe the architecture design, sometimes maybe the code, or sometimes maybe the software. So it has to be checked. That's all about this video, and there is only 5. All right, so on a very simple, planning is completely planning. That is, what is the scope, what is the defining the scope, what is the resource used, what are the time, everything. All right, then I initiate review, just have to review the thing. Next is individual review, they started to review, and they'll note it down everything. And the issue communication, what are they noted down, they are just communicating, and analyzing the severity. And in the fixing and reporting phase, whatever it is severe, as per the severity they'll fix, and they'll document everything. Then again, retesting also has been followed after the exit criteria and the accepting the work product. So that's all about this video. In the next video, we'll see about the another thing, that is roles and responsibility in a formal review, review types. All right, yeah. If you have any doubts, please feel free to connect with us. We'll try to solve as soon as possible.